Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video. This is the 5th episode of Story, and it only takes one person to change history. What if a simple act of kindness results in 4 of Konoha's best friends? Please hit the subscribe and like buttons. Let's get this party started. Ibiki stood and listened to everyone bitch about the test. He figured that it would be like this. However, even he hit a limit. Unleashing his intent, he quelled all arguments. He noticed that the red-haired Sanjinan did not even flinch. That was something to look into. If you are quite done complaining, I can explain why you passed. By now, most of you realize that the 9 questions were almost impossible to answer. I wanted to see just how smart you all were in a critical situation. Ibiki explained. Naruto was the one to speak. You wanted us to cheat? Naruto stated loudly. Of course. There was no other way. You had to be creative to collect the answers. Those who were eliminated could not do it as discreetly as many of you. Whether you use string and mirrors, looking at Tenten, a puppet, looking at Kankuro, or eye techniques, looking at Hinata. As long as you stayed within the point system that I enforced, you were safe. Ibiki explained. What about the 10th question? Tamari asked. There wasn't one. It was a choice that every one of you has to make. He then removed his bandana to reveal a shocking amount of burns, slashes and holes. Everyone cringed at the sight. I wanted to see if you have the will to become Chunin. As a ninja, you may be captured for information. Will you crack or will you hold out to protect the village? Do you have the guts to withstand everything for your village? He demanded. There was no answer among the group. Ibiki tied his bandana back on before facing everyone. Everyone who has stayed despite my threats are willing to push forward. Because you choose to stay and face the challenge, you all have proven that you are ready to become Chunin. So congratulations, he said. Everyone was relieved and some even cheered. That soon ended when something came crashing into the room. Everyone was alert as the object began to unravel. When it was over, a woman with violet hair, light brown, pupilless eyes, a fitted mesh bodysuit that covers her from her neck down to her thighs. Over this she wore a tan overcoat with a purple inseam and a pocket on each side, a dark orange miniskirt, a dark blue belt, and pale gray shin guards. She was standing in front of a banner. This is no time to be celebrating. I am Anko Mitarashi, the second proctor of the Chunin exams. So, let's go, she said, throwing a fist into the air. Everyone just looked at her like she was crazy. Ibiki came from behind the banner. You're early again, Anko, he said. Anko looked a little embarrassed but noticed the number of Jinan. You late 26 teams. This test was too easy. Anko complained. No, there are just some brave ones this year. Ibiki explained. Brave, huh? Well, we'll see about that in the next stage. I'll reduce them by half, she said with a wicked grin. Her grin faded when her eyes locked onto Naruto. She would stare at him before launching herself at him, kunai out. As she closed in, her wrists and ankles suddenly came together. Then they were connected again, making her fall on her face. Anko looked like one of those roasted pigs that had an apple in its mouth. Everyone got a good look at her ass as it was up in the air. Ow, damn it. Anko growled. She looked up to see the smug grin on Naruto's face, darkening her mood. You know, this can all end if you just admit it, crazy lady. Say the words and you won't keep suffering the embarrassment, he said, amused. Naruto's and Anko's private prank war was known to very few in the village. It all started when Anko insulted Naruto, calling him a baby in diapers. Naruto responded by asking Ibiki why they allowed call girls to be kunoichi. Anko would let that go, warning Naruto with a few hard pats to his cheek. Naruto did not heed her warning and returned the gesture. For his ignorance, Anko gave him an atomic wedgie. She figured that was the end of it. Boy, was she wrong. It would be 2 days later when Naruto struck. Somehow, Naruto infiltrated her home and put some kind of dye in her shampoo. Anko's hair was now a horrid neon orange color. Her screams could be heard throughout the village. She had burst into his apartment to kill him only for him to escape her wrath. Since then the two were at war. So far, Naruto was ahead. I will never, ever, submit to you, Anko spat. Okay, that's enough. Naruto, back up so Anko can administer the second stage. Anko, play nice, Ibiki said, getting the stink eye from Anko. You always take his side. Look at me, everyone is getting a free show. Anko argued. Put some drinks or a plate of dango in front of you and we would get the same result. Ibiki replied. The adults chuckled. Anko's cheeks were red with embarrassment and Naruto was laughing his ass off as he backed away. Once he was far enough, Anko got up and glared at everyone, daring them to say something. She then glared at Naruto, making silent threats to the blonde. She would get her revenge soon enough. The 26 team were led to a large training ground. It was a very dense-looking forest that was gated. Anko stood in front of the team, annoyance on her face. "Okay, listen up and pay attention. I'm only going to say this once. This is Training Ground 44, also known as the Forest of Death. It is a 10-kilometer in diameter, big enough for the second part of this exam. You will all enter this forest and make your way to the tower that is dead center of this area. However, there is a twist." "Of course there is," Shikamaru muttered. Anko then pulled out 2 scrolls. One was white and had the symbol heaven while the other was gray and had the symbol earth. Each team must arrive at the tower with both scrolls. Everyone looked at her with acknowledgement. "That's right kids, each team will get one of the other scroll and you have to retrieve the other. You can steal or fight for it. You all have 5 days to have both scrolls and enter the tower." 5 days? What about food?" Choji exclaimed. "Oh, there is stuff in the forest you can eat. They can also eat you but I'm sure you'll be fine." Many sweat dropped at that. "I only have 2 rules for this exam. If you leave the forest, you fail. If you open the scroll, there is a nice surprise for you and you fail," Anko said with a smile. "You all have 40 minutes to get your scroll and appear at your assigned gate. Oh, I have one piece of advice for all of you." Everyone looked at her. "Just don't die." Team Kurenai stood at their gate with the heaven scroll in their possession. The 3 were discussing their plan. Fortunately a plan was already set by Shino. "Have I ever told you that you are awesome, Shino?" Kiba said with a grin. "Not lately," Shino stated simply. So, everyone has a bug? Does that include our friends?" Hinata asked. "Yes, although I suspect it might be difficult to get to them if we finish the exam by the first day," Shino explained. "I wouldn't worry about those guys. Choji and Shikamaru are pretty smart and Naruto is pretty tricky. I think that they will be okay," Kiba said. The other 2 nodded and waited. "I'm sorry but did I just hear you tell me no?" Ino demanded. She was glaring at her 2 teammates. While Choji looked nervous, Shikamaru looked annoyed. "And why shouldn't we take out the other Konoha teams? If you didn't know, this is an all-or-none battle for the scrolls. Why shouldn't we go after the team that we know about?" "Because, we don't know anything about anyone. Most of the teams from the Leaf has years of experience. Attacking them head-on would be stupid. Team Kurenai would literally see us coming and they would finish this exam by nightfall. Team Kakashi is also a no because they will decimate us. The same for Team Guy," Shikamaru explained. "Please, Sasuke is the only one who would be an issue." Ino scoffed. This time it was Choji who spoke. "Naruto is very strong and not just in sealing. His taijutsu is on Sasuke's level and his ninjutsu might be greater. I really don't know about Sakura but she looks stronger. I mean, you've seen how different she looks," he explained. "Choji is right. We will get our scroll but we're not going to rush in like idiots. We are not a combat team. Our skills are more towards stalling opponents. That is what we will do," Shikamaru said. Ino was not happy but she could not dispute their claims. She would not argue for now but she would have her way soon. Naruto pinched the bridge of his nose. He was now regretting his decision to take this exam. "So, your plan is to hunt and fight a team, taking their scroll in the process?" Naruto asked. "You have a problem with my plan?" Sasuke asked. "Other than the fact that it is the stupidest plan ever? Do you know how to track and hunt? Because if you know how to do those things, your plan would have merit," Naruto said. Sasuke gave him a dirty look, making Sakura sigh. "Naruto is right, Sasuke. We need a better plan. Part of that plan is dealing with our scroll." "Naruto, do you have an idea?" Sakura asked. "A really good one. I'll tell you in the forest. Afterwards, we can come up with a much better plan to get a scroll," Naruto said, looking at Sasuke. He scoffed and waited for the gate to open. Kakashi stood in front of the memorial stone. He had been at the stone since leaving his colleagues. He didn't even know that his team passed and were in the Forest of Death. His mind was on everything that has happened since getting his team. He couldn't believe just how much things had changed and how wrong it went. Everything just went wrong. Did I do something wrong? Was I wrong in my decision? Did I fail again? Kakashi asked no one. If you are asking those questions, Kakashi, then you should know the answers. Kakashi turned to see the Hokage. His lone eye narrowed a little at seeing him. "Are you here to give your respects?" "I can leave if you want," Kakashi said. "That is unnecessary. I will be brief," Hiruzen said. He walked up to the stone and did a small prayer. After a while, Hiruzen stopped and turned away to go back to his office. As he was about to disappear, Kakashi spoke. "So, has my replacement been chosen?" Kakashi asked, a little bitter. "3 people have been chosen. We are doing a review of the 3 and we will make out choice soon." Hiruzen answered. "So the elders are involved as well? The council might feel slighted that they were not informed," Kakashi stated. "Are you going to tell them, Kakashi? Looking to undermine me because of the truth? If that is your wish, then you may do so. However, it will not change the decision. You will not be allowed to lead the team," Hiruzen said. The Jonin was not happy with that. "I will not accept that, sir. They are my team and I will fight for them," he said. "Are you fighting to keep them because you are sincerely sorry or because it will be another failure that you will pile among your other ones?" he asked, stunning the one-eyed Jonin. He did not wait for an answer and vanished. Kakashi was left stunned and speechless. The question his leader gave him would not be leaving his mind for a while. Anko threw another skewer into the tree across from her. The pattern formed a familiar face. Anko would stare at the pattern before littering it with shuriken. Anko seemed to smile at that. "Anko." The woman turned to see a frantic Chunin examiner. "What's the matter?" she asked in a bored tone. "You have to come quick. Something is very wrong," he said with urgency. Anko was curious and began to follow. They arrived to see 2 other ninja. Anko walked forward and gasped at the sight. 3 bodies were laying there and their faces were missing. "We found them a while ago, but I swear, we saw these 3 enter the forest," the Chunin explained. Anko looked murderous and turned away. She was making her way into the forest, confusing the others. "Get to the Hokage and tell him to get here fast. Also, inform the Anbu that I went into the forest and I will need backup," Anko ordered. "Anko, what is going on?" asked another Chunin. "Orochimaru is back in the leaf and has infiltrated the exam." With that, Anko entered the forest. Sasuke watched as Naruto worked on a scroll. He resisted the urge to use his Sharingan to follow his hands. He was writing so fast and without making a mistake. The only reason he didn't was because he still thought sealing jutsu were a waste of his time. Naruto finished his work and rolled up the scroll. He added a bit of his chakra to it before writing the symbol heaven on it. Afterwards, he tossed the scroll to Sasuke. Taking the real scroll, Naruto placed it on the ground and placed his hand near it. Some symbols appeared and formed an array. Seconds later, the scroll vanished. Naruto stood up and sighed. "Well, it's done," he said. "And you're sure that outscroll is safe?" Sakura asked. "Yeah, it's safe." Sakura looked at him with a little disbelief. "Look, my apartment is probably the most secure place in the leaf. Hell, even the Anbu is scared to come in like usual. I had to do it since that crazy woman burst into my place looking to kill me. Trust me, no one is going to get our scroll," Naruto assured. "All right, let's get to finding some shelter, some water and some food," Sakura said. "Why are we wasting our time?" Sasuke asked. He ignored the annoyed sigh from Naruto. "We should just find a team and take their scroll. Looking for food and shelter will only slow us down. Again, can you track or hunt? Did you see where the other competitors went? Can the Sharingan see farther than us?" Naruto asked sarcastically. Sasuke did not look happy. "Since you haven't answered any of my questions, I'm going to take that as a no. Now is not the time to be stupid. We need to think about our acts before we actually act. Naruto is right. If we go into this stage recklessly, we can be in a lot of trouble. I think we need to take a page out of the academics book. We need to find shelter, hunt for food and collect some water. That should be in his out plan," Sakura said, adding on from Naruto's explanation. "That might be your plan but it isn't mine," Sasuke stated. His other 2 teammates looked confused. "You 2 can waste your time with those lessons but I'm going to get another scroll, my way. I didn't need you 2 before and I don't need you now." With that, Sasuke vanished, leaving 2 stunned and, somewhat, angry teammates. Shikamaru sat in a meditate pose. While it did not look like it, he was concentrating. Secretly, he was cursing his mother for this jutsu. This had to be payback for all the barriers he trapped her in. This barrier was especially hard due to the fact that it was a B-rank barrier, meaning a good amount of chakra, meaning a lot of work. He still learned it but could not hold it for long periods, 2 to 3 minutes at most. After that time, Shikamaru released the barrier and took a deep breath. He looked at his teammates, who were waiting. "So?" asked Ino. "Nothing under the probe barrier. There are no teams near us," Shikamaru said tiredly. "Well, we can take a break then. I have some jerky you can eat," Choji said, pulling out the jerky. Shikamaru took it and bit into it. It was really good, meaning Choji made it. However, he noticed that he was surprisingly getting his chakra back. "Oh, I marinated it with ginseng. It's an herb that gives you energy in body and spirit," Choji answered. He turned to Ino to offer some but she refused. Ino would then look at Shikamaru. "So our plan is to wait and see, huh?" Ino asked with a tone. Shikamaru just sighed at it. "I don't know why I have to explain to you so many times and I'm not going to explain it now. I really don't have the energy to deal with your attitude. Let's just go and get something to eat," Shikamaru said and walked off. Ino bristled at his dismissal, which Choji saw. "Ino, maybe you should just listen to Shikamaru. The both of you are starting to disrupt the team," Choji said. "It is not my fault. He has had an attitude with me since my promotion ceremony," Choji said, cutting her off. Ino looked at him with some surprise. "I'm not that clueless." "Well, he needs to get over it. I've apologized to you and you have accepted it." "You didn't have a problem," Ino said. Choji paused at that and looked at her. He then remembered his talk with Asuma. The man told him that he would need to keep the team together throughout the exam. He also told him that he should not keep his feelings bottled up. He was talking about his sadness and annoyance at Ino. His father also told him the same thing. He said that he did not need to be mean but he had to make his point. Taking a deep breath, Choji looked at her. "Actually, I only accepted because I'm not one to be angry or hold grudges. I didn't really let it go and it still does bother me," he said. "Choji," Ino whispered, clearly stunned. "It might have been a waste of time for you but it was important to me. I just wanted all my friends there, including you. When you blew it off, I was hurt. I thought that you didn't see us as friends. While I can move past it, it does still sting. I just wanted you to know my true feelings about the matter. If it helps us in the long run to pass this test, then so be it. We need to be on the same level, Ino, so you two would just have to talk," Choji said. He turned and walked away, feeling a little better. Ino stood there, still stunned. She couldn't believe that Choji felt that way. She suddenly started to feel something close to shame. Shikamaru, who was hiding, couldn't help but be proud of his friend. He left shortly to follow Choji. Kiba, Shino and Hinata were sitting around. They each were trying to calm their fears after what they just witnessed. It happened just a few minutes ago. In the beginning, they came across a team of waterfall ninja that were trapped in a net, a heaven scroll laying on the ground. They took the scroll and walked away. While getting the scroll was easy, Kiba felt restless and wanted to explore more. Shino was against it and Hinata agreed. However, he convinced them, mostly annoying the two until they gave in. Kiba assured them that everything would be fine. Boy, was he wrong. They ran into two teams about fight. One of the team was that sand team Naruto mentioned. They faced off against an older rain team. The leader tossed two umbrellas in the air. Doing a hand seals, dozens of senbon shot out toward the redhead. They waited to see if the attack worked only to see that it did not work. Not one needle got through and the team was surprised because the boy wielded sand. That's when he attacked with that same sand. He quickly encased him in a cocoon. He then violently crushed him to death. It was the most gruesome scene they had ever seen. His teammates have quickly surrendered after witnessing that. However, it did not save them from the same fate. What really got to Team Kurenai was that he did it with such ease and without remorse. That's when they saw that he was not satisfied and wanted to kill more. The team was very scared but were saved when he agreed with his siblings to make their way to the tower. Once the team was sure that they were gone, Team Kurenai left the scene. They sat in silence, trying to come to grips with what they saw. It would be a few moments before Kiba spoke. "I'm sorry guys," he said with a sorrowful voice. Hinata and Shino turned their attention to him. "If I wasn't so cocky and looking for a fight, we wouldn't have seen that. We wouldn't have been in such danger. I nearly got us killed and I'm very sorry." Kiba bowed his head to his teammates. Both could hear the genuine shame that he felt for what he did. That's when Hinata spoke. I don't blame you Kiba-kun," she said. Kiba popped his head up. "You don't? Yes, you did make a decision that we should look for more scrolls but we did not disagree. Also, you did not know about either of those teams. We should be happy we're alive." Hinata explained. Hinata is right. Do not take responsibility of this. However, for the future, think with your head, not your ego. You're not Sasuke. Shino added. Hinata giggled at the joke while Kiba looked at Shino with surprise. He then scoffed at Shino with a smirk. They decided to rest for a little while longer before heading to the tower. Sasuke clashed with the rain ninja, Oboro, in mid-air. He then had to dodge a kunai coming from behind. He had his Sharingan on so he was able to counter his opponent's punch, kicking him in the chest. They landed away from each other. The other rain ninja appeared and looked ready to cut Sasuke down. Sasuke turned to counter only to see through the genjutsu. It was a good thing as he was able to dodge another kunai. However, he was starting to get tired. He had been fighting Oboro for 5 minutes before his teammate came and it was starting to wear down his stamina. He turned to Oboro who was chuckling at him. Despite having those special eyes, you can't seem to keep up with our attack. I guess you should have stuck with your teammates, Uchiha. Oboro mocked. Sasuke growled at his mocking. That's when they heard an explosion. The two were surprised by the different colored smoke. Oboro's teammate came out of the smoke, covered in different colors. He was trying to get the paint off him. That's when a blonde blur shot out of hiding and proceeded to bombard the dazed shinobi. The two were still watching in surprise, which almost cost Oboro. He spun in time, attempting to stab the person coming up behind them. His missed as they ducked under the strike. They then blocked his counter and stabbed a senbon into his left arm. It went limp, stunning him. He swung his kunai but they blocked his arm, disarmed him and jabbed another senbon into his other arm, rendering it useless. With no way to defend himself, he was at the mercy of the oncoming fist that crashed into his face. Sasuke looked on in surprise as Sakura rubbed his fist. He then looked on to see that Naruto had finished off the other rain ninja. Naruto stood up and walked away from him. He bumped into him and continued on to Sakura who was checking the guy she just knocked out. So? Naruto asked. He doesn't have it either. It must be with the third one, Sakura said. Naruto turned to look at Sasuke. So, are we going to get a thank you or are you going to sulk? Naruto asked. Sasuke just growled at him but said nothing. That's when he noticed that Sakura was giving him a look. He didn't like it and gave her a look too. What? Sasuke demanded. I'm just wondering how much longer you are going to act like a child. Sakura answered. Naruto snorted while Sasuke was glaring daggers at her. Excuse me? Sasuke snarled. If you want to prove your superiority, then do it in the next stage. Right now, we are in a forest surrounded by enemies and animals that will kill us. We need to be on the same page or we will not make it through this stage. Since you want to act like a spoiled child, then I and Naruto will treat you like one, Sakura stated. How dare you speak to me like that? Sasuke roared. Because you're not acting like a ninja or maturely, Sakura shouted at him. You're acting like one of those kids who throws a tantrum when he doesn't get his way. Captain Kakashi might cater to you and there is still a part of me that still likes you but I refuse to die here because of your damn ego. So choose. You can team up with us and pass or go it alone and fail. You would fail on purpose just to spite me? Have you forgotten about your new friend right next to you? Sasuke sneered. Oh, I agree with her, Naruto said, stunning Sasuke. I would love nothing more than to be a Chunin but I'm not going to risk my life to satisfy your ego. You forget, you need me more than I need you to pass. I have no problem waiting another 6 months. By then, I'll be with a better sensei and without you. So, what's it going to be, golden boy? Sasuke was enraged. He couldn't believe the balls of these two. He wanted to tell the two of them off so bad but he knew that Naruto had a point. Without him getting the scroll, he would not pass the test. He squashed his rage and pride for the moment. He gave the two a harsh glare. Fine. From here on, we are teammates. After we pass this stage, I'm leaving this team. I refuse to put up with either of you after this insult. Are we clear? He stated. Sakura did not look too hurt by this and Naruto didn't care. The two nodded and were prepared to leave. Well now, a voice said. The three looked around when they heard the voice and were prepared to fight. That's when a teen landed in the middle of them, forcing them to face him. The teen had on a straw hat, a gray garb, black polo and black pants. He also wore a purple rope as a belt. The team got into their fighting stance and faced him. Defeating you all will be simpler than I thought. With that, he unleashed his killing intent. All three were scared and frozen stiff. They were gasping for air. He then did a seal and the whole area went white. Naruto groaned and shook his head to clear the cobwebs. He pushed some dirt off him and sat up. He grabbed the back of his head in pain and wondered what the hell happened just now. He looked around for his teammates but couldn't find either one of them. What the? Where the hell are they? The last thing I remembered was... Oh shit, Naruto exclaimed and shot up to his feet. I remember now. Damn it, we must have gotten separated when he attacked. I need to find them and get the hell out of Dodge. That guy was no Jinan. That's when he heard the sound of something loud. He looked in the direction to see some smoke. He quickly made his way over to that area. He prayed that everyone was alright. Sakura was also making her to that area. She heard the noise and saw the smoke. She was determined to make it there fast. As she cleared some leaves, Sasuke jumped out of the deep leaves of a tree. She was glad to see him when the huge head of a snake came after him. The person who attacked them was riding it and had a smile. She was scared but she fought against it. She had to help Sasuke. She dug into her pouch and pulled out some kunai. She attached some explosive notes to the ends and let them fly. Her aim was true, her kunai hit the snake in the eye. The snake hissed in pain and it got worse when Sakura activated the notes. The snake hissed and thrashed around due to losing its eye. The ninja tried to get the snake under control only to hear something. He turned only to be cut in two by a blue disc. The snake also got its head cut off as well by another disc. Naruto landed next to Sakura. The two made their way over to Sasuke, who looked scared. "Get up. We have to get out of here and fast," Naruto shouted at him. "So soon?" The three turned around to see the man that Naruto thought he just killed. He had a smirk on his face. "We are just getting started. I am interested in that jutsu of yours. It looked like a chakra disc of wind," he said. "Stop screwing with us," Naruto exclaimed. He glared at the person in front of him. "I don't know what your game is but you are no Jonin. Why the hell are you targeting us, or should I say, what the hell do you want with Sasuke?" The ninja looked at Naruto with a little surprise. He then chuckled at him. "I wanted to see just how good the Uchiha really was. He is the star competitor for the Leaf Village. I wanted to see what the fuss was about but all he has done is flee. He is so scared that he can barely stand up. I'm kind of disappointed," he said. Naruto and Sakura narrowed their eyes at him. That's when Sasuke grabbed Naruto's arm. The blonde looked at him and saw the fear that he had in his eyes. "Naruto, summon the scroll," Sasuke ordered with fear. What?" Naruto said in shock. "Summon the scroll and give it up. He will let us go if you just give up the scroll. He will kill us if we don't. So, summon the damn scroll," Sasuke stated. Naruto looked at Sasuke for a moment before narrowing his eyes. Sasuke never saw the punch coming. He went skidding across the branch. He winced in pain and looked at the angry eyes of Naruto. "What makes you think he cares about our scroll, stupid?" Naruto roared. "He might have been telling the truth about coming to test you but everything else is bullshit. He isn't a Jonin. I bet he isn't even a teenager. If he cared about the exams, he would have slaughtered us on his first attack and found our scroll. This person does not care about the exams and we need to get the hell out of here now." Sasuke balked at the rage in Naruto's tone. Sakura was even a little worried about it. The ninja chuckled, getting their attention. Naruto noticed that the pitch of his voice changed. It was more adult and snake-like. "It seems that I have truly underestimated you, Naruto Uzumaki. You figured my plan out. I must speak with my inside man about his lack of information. I digress, I came here to test Sasuke's abilities and you were in the way. So, what will you do, Naruto? Will you allow me to continue my testing or do I have to kill you and the girl?" he asked. "How about option 3? Naruto asked. The man raised his eyebrow before an army of clones charged at him. The original and Sakura quickly turned around. They snatched up Sasuke and started running. The ninja easily destroyed the first clone but what froze him was that he burst into leaves. It blinded him but he was able to intercept the strike from behind, slamming the other clone to the ground, dispelling him only to get a minor burn on his hand. "Well now, clones made of leaves and clones made of fire. It seems that I will have to investigate further." However, he thought. That's when he unleashed another massive jutsu, destroying each clone. He looked toward the direction that the team was fleeing and vanished. Naruto, Sakura and Sasuke were running for their lives. Naruto was ahead and moving, wanting to get as far away from that person as possible. He noticed that his other two teammates were lagging and turned to face them. "Guys, we have to hustle. I don't know why but I know that my clones will not hold him for long," Naruto shouted. "How right you are," a voice said. Naruto turned back to see the ninja in front of him. He quickly raised his arms to block the punch but it was so strong that it sent him flying into the side of the tree. He would not be allowed to drop down as four snakes bit into him and held him in place. Naruto screamed in pain as he was held up. Sakura quickly made her way to free him. She tossed a kunai at the person as a distraction so she could attack from above. It was easily seen through and Sakura was hit with a powerful kick that sent her flying across the forest. She hit the side of a tree 20 yards away and fell unconscious. The ninja turned his attention back to Naruto only to feel a malevolent chakra begin to pour out of him. "While I would like nothing more to see you use that chakra, you have already caused me to fall behind schedule. Better to take care of you now," he said and channeled chakra to his fingertips. Small purple flames appeared on each tip, each with a symbol. 5-pronged seal. He slammed his hand into his gut, causing Naruto to roar in pain. That's when the lights went out and his body went limp. Orochimaru dropped him and watched him for a while. Something told him to end this boy's life, but he decided against for now. He knew that it would bring untold amounts of trouble. He turned his attention back to Sasuke. He could still see that he was still scared, but he was going to do something about that. He removed the face that he borrowed and dropped it to the ground. He looked at the younger Uchiha and scoffed. How your clan must weep at the fear you show. I thought that the Uchiha were warriors, the elite, but here you are, shaking in fear. How could you face your brother and get your revenge if you can even face me? He said. Sasuke looked offended by his words and some of the fear was gone. Who are you? Sasuke asked. My name is Orochimaru. I came to see if you worth my time, Sasuke. I wanted to see if you have that fire that all Uchiha had. It seems that I was wrong and that I have wasted my time, he said before turning toward the down Naruto. Well, almost a waste of my time. He was certainly interesting for the short fight that he put up. Even the girl showed some skill that stunned me. You, however, were a waste, and to think, I was going to give you the power to accomplish your greatest ambition. What are you talking about? Sasuke demanded. Power, Sasuke. I was going to give you the power to complete your objective, to fight your brother. But why should I waste my time and give you that power? You do not deserve it, and I doubt that you would survive the process. You are too weak, Orochimaru stated. Sasuke forgot his fear and activated his eyes. No one was going to call him weak. He was not weak. He prepared to fight this man, missing the smile on his face. Choji was breathing a little hard from all the running that he had to do. Shikamaru was in the same boat as was Ino. They had to run due to the fact that Ino tried to seduce Neji Hyuga. It almost ended with them nearly getting destroyed by the prodigy. They were lucky that he did not find them any trouble and allowed them to escape. As he caught his breath, he saw that Shikamaru was looking at Ino with narrowed eyes. He could only sigh as he could see the argument that was about to begin. Are you happy now? Shikamaru asked with an annoyed tone. Don't you start with me, Ino stated firmly. I don't want to hear it. Shikamaru just sighed and looked at Choji. Do you still have our scrolls? He asked. Yeah, I have both scrolls, Choji said. He pulled out the two earth scrolls. One was theirs from the beginning and the other they got off a waterfall team that they ambushed using Shikamaru's plan. They would have stuck to the plan, but Ino decided to go off the rails. When they came across Neji, they were going to flee only to have Ino try and seduce him. Good, at least that's some good news. We need to rest for now and gather ourselves, Shikamaru said. He gave Ino a look before moving on. Ino just narrowed her eyes at his back before turning to Choji. You have something to say too? Ino asked with a tone. Choji just shook his head at her. I'll go and gather some firewood, he said and walked away. Ino was left by herself, her frustrations growing with each minute. Since Choji told her his true feelings, her frustrations continued to grow. She kept having an internal battle within herself. She knew that she was feeling guilty for what she did to her childhood friend, but a stronger part of her told her that it wasn't that big of a deal. She saw Choji's and Shikamaru's attitudes as being childish. It was something that she believed strongly about. Either way, she decided that if those two were going to act like children, then she would treat them like children. She also was going to ignore any words that they said and do what they should have done in the beginning, go after Team Kakashi. Sakura placed a wet rag on the forehead of Sasuke. She was currently watching over him and Naruto inside a hollowed-out tree. She had dragged the two here after waking up from his unconsciousness. When she did, she saw that man bite down on Sasuke's shoulder, his neck extended. He removed his mouth from him and Sasuke hit the ground. She rushed over to him only to feel his temperature rise and his pulse begin to fade. The man who called himself Orochimaru told her to keep watch of him and that soon he would come to him before vanishing. Sakura did not understand what that meant, but it concerned her. She also wondered what that mark on his shoulder was. She did not like it as it was right where she saw Orochimaru bite him. She would have asked Naruto, but he was also unconscious. Lucky for him, those snakes weren't poisonous. She gave him a simple antidote just in case. However, he would know what this was and how to deal with it. He knew these types of things after all. Hell, he even knew a curse seal jutsu himself. Orochimaru appeared at the tower. He kept his chakra hidden as to not alert any of the Anbu that would be nearby. He didn't need another battle today, especially since he did not know what else was on him. The fight with Sasuke made him happy. He was no Itachi, but he had potential, and with the mark on him, he would be easy to manipulate. There was also the fact that he held no attachments to his team. That would make it all the more easier when he ripened and wanted to join him. Everything was going well, but he came across a problem. The problem was Naruto Uzumaki. He wouldn't lie to himself and say he wasn't interested in those jutsu that he displayed to face him. Leaf clones and fire clones were new, not to mention that attack that would have killed him but killed his serpent. Then there was the boy's final move. He did not realize that he placed a curse seal on him. If the boy had succeeded, he would have been dead by Anko's kunai. What concerned him was that this seal was only used by one person and there was no way that Sarutobi would allow him near the blonde. So, what was going on here? He could be more trouble than I thought. He is an unknown and his skill is unknown as well. I will need to investigate further if I am to make any other moves, he thought. Still, he had a first good day back in his old home. He couldn't wait for the second. Sakura awoke with a start, kunai in hand. She looked around but found no one in the area. She relaxed and waited to calm down. After a while, she checked on her teammates. Sasuke was still running a fever but at least his pulse was better. That was a good sign. As she moved to take care of Naruto, someone called out, "Hey, bring out Sasuke Uchiha." Sakura stood up and peeked out. She saw that it was that sound ninja team from the classroom. What did they want? Giving her teammates one more look, Sakura stepped out of the hollowed tree. She faced the three, her face determined. "What do you three want with Sasuke?" Sakura demanded. "Hey, we're here to kill him," the spiky-haired ninja said with cockiness. "So bring him out." "Sorry but he's unable to come out. I guess you'll have to wait until the second stage is over," Sakura said. "The bitch thinks she's funny. Let's just take her out and complete our mission," the girl said. Sakura narrowed her eyes at that. What did she mean by that? The mummy Jinan glared at the female with his lone eye. "Shut up, Kin. She does not need to know our reasons," he said. He looked at Sakura and took a hold of her posture. "Do you really think that you can face all of us alone? Do yourself and step aside." "I don't think so. You will have to go through me to get to my teammate," Sakura said. "Not a problem for me," the spiky-haired ninja said and raised his hand toward her. Sakura tossed a kunai and quickly pulled out two from her pouch. She moved just as he fired something. She watched as he blew her kunai to pieces. Sound waves, pressurized. Sakura thought as she charged at the team. The girl ran up to meet her. She tossed several senbon at her that she deflected. As she did, she caught the sound of the bells. Hearing the sounds, Sakura began to get disoriented and began to see multiple copies of her. The spiky-haired Jinan hit her from her side with a blast. "Ha, that was too easy," he said. "Zaku!" the bandaged Jinan shouted. Zaku turned around just to get punched in the face. Sakura connected with two more punches and a spin kick that sent Zaku spinning. Sakura was about to knock him out but retreated when Kin threw some shuriken. Kin ran at Sakura only to be stopped by the mummy. "What the hell, Dosu?" she shouted but he ignored her to look at the ground. "Nice attempt but you need to hide your traps better," Dosu said. "Thanks for the advice," Sakura said before tossing a kunai at a rope. It released a log that came at the two. A blast of sound waves smashed the log to pieces. Sakura had to use another replacement jutsu to dodge Zaku's attack. Shuriken came from the trees, separating Dosu and Kin. Sakura appeared and began to engage Kin. The long-haired girl attempted to fend off Sakura but Sakura's taijutsu improved greatly. Kin overreached with a punch and Sakura performed a shoulder throw, slamming her into the ground. Sakura was about to finish her but she was forced to retreat again when she saw Dosu's gauntlet. She remembered what it did to Kabuto and was wary of it. She got into a defensive stance and waited. "You are definitely not the waste of space I thought. Still, our objective is clear. We will kill Sasuke and anyone in our way," Dosu said. Sakura was curious about that. That's when she remembered what happened yesterday. "So Orochimaru sent you to finish the job that he started?" Sakura asked. While she could not gauge Dosu's reaction, Zaku's and Kin's were clear as day. "So he did send you to finish that job? But why send a team when he could done it himself yesterday?" What? Lord Orochimaru attacked you? He's in the forest?" Zaku demanded. "Shut up, Zaku. She is just trying to get information from you," Dosu shouted. He turned back towards Sakura. "It doesn't matter. We have our orders." With that said, Dosu charged forward. Kin followed him and Zaku gathered chakra for his attack. Sakura tossed a smoke pellet to the ground to cover herself. Slicing sound wave, Zaku shouted and blew the smoke away. He then held out his other arm behind him and fired. "Nice try but that won't work again." He turned around only to see that she wasn't there. This angered him until his left arm went limp. He turned around only to get hit hard. Zaku bounced once before laying still. "You stupid bitch, I'll kill you," roared Kin as she engaged Sakura. The pinkette kept on the defensive and countered with throws. Kin threw out all sense and was just trying to cut Sakura open. Sakura dodged another wild strike before using the ring of her kunai to hit Kin's hand. This forced her to release her kunai and left her open for an attack. Sakura reared her fist back to finish her off when a shout distracted her. "Leave Hurricane!" Sakura turned to see Rock Lee kick Dosu away. She quickly turned around to face Kin and barely dodged a slash from Kin. She got nicked in the arm and Kin kicked her in the chest. Sakura countered her follow-up stab with a throw that sent her tumbling. Sakura ignored the pain and blood. Lee appeared by her and checked on her. "Are you alright, Sakura?" Lee asked with concern. "I'll be fine. Thanks for coming in the nick of time." "How did you find me?" she asked. "With the power of youth. It led me here as I sensed you might be in danger," Lee answered. "Okay," Sakura said nervously and a little weirded out. Her attention turned back to her opponents. "Look, Lee, my teammates are down and I need your help. These guys are working for Orochimaru and are out to kill Sasuke. We need to finish them off now." "Understood," Lee exclaimed and shot forward after Dosu. Sakura rushed Kin and the two engaged each other again. Team Asuma arrived at the scene after following Lee. They didn't really have a choice as Ino took off after him. They decided to hide and watch. As they watched, Ino could not hide her disbelief. She watched as Sakura held her own against the Sound Kunoichi. She wondered when she got this good in taijutsu. While she was in awe of Sakura, Shikamaru and Choji were looking for Naruto. Their attention turned to Zaku after he saved Dosu from Lee. "That's it. I've had it with you leaf scum. I'll finish this in one blast," Zaku shouted. Putting his hands together, he aimed at the hollowed-out tree. Sakura screamed as Zaku launched his attack. Supersonic slicing wave. A huge wave blasted out, covering the whole path in front of him. The blast destroyed everything in an instant. When it was over, everyone thought that Zaku had killed Sasuke and Naruto. That was until the smoke cleared and most of the tree was still there. "What the hell?" Zaku shouted. "Human boulder." Zaku turned only to be hit hard by a speeding, rolling ball. It crashed into a tree with him hard. The large ball rolled out and Zaku slumped to the ground out cold. Kin was about to say something only to have her body freeze up. "Sakura, knock her out, hard," Shikamaru shouted. Sakura wasted no time. "Cha!" she roared and hit Kin so hard it made an imprint on the ground. Choji returned to his normal size while Shikamaru revealed himself. "Choji? Shikamaru? Don't worry about this guy, Sakura. Go and check on Sasuke and Naruto," Shikamaru said. Sakura nodded and made her way over. She suddenly stopped and caught her breath. This got everyone's attention. Standing at the destroyed entrance was Sasuke. A dark purple chakra was emitting from him. There were also black marks that was on one side of his face and arm. Dosu looked the most surprised by this. Lord Orochimaru gave him one of those marks? Does that mean he used us to test him? Dosu asked himself. Sasuke? Sakura said with some fear. The ninja in question looked at himself before grinning. This power is what I was looking for. I feel stronger already. That's when he looked at everyone. He saw the Sound Ninja. "So, you were sent to test me? Fine, let's test this power out," Sasuke said with a smirk. "What are you talking about? There is no reason to test anything? He is surrounded and outmatched," Shikamaru stated. "I didn't ask for your opinion, Nara. Now, get out of my way," Sasuke threatened. "I will not allow that, Sasuke. Your words are unyouthful and I will not allow such unyouthfulness," Lee exclaimed. "You think that you're going to stop me? After I deal with him, you're next," Sasuke stated. Lee got into a stance, ready to fight Sasuke if he came at him. "That's enough, Sasuke," Sakura shouted. "These are our comrades and have saved us from harm. Now, stand down or else we will put you down." Sasuke was surprised at Sakura's tone but that quickly turned to anger. He growled and chakra exploded out of him. Everyone prepared to fight when a smoke pellet hit the ground near him. It confused him enough for something to be put on his head. Sasuke suddenly felt tired and immediately fell on the ground, out cold. The smoke cleared to reveal Naruto. He looked at everyone. "So, what did I miss?" Choji and Shikamaru had just finished securing the Sound team while Team Guy had just left with their teammate. Shikamaru looked to see Naruto check over the mark on Sasuke's shoulder. He could also see that Naruto and Sakura were getting annoyed with Ino hovering. He made his way over just as Naruto finally lost his patience. "Would you please, shut up, Ino? I'm trying to work here," Naruto yelled. "No, I won't shut up. I want to know what you are doing to Sasuke and why is he tied up?" Ino shouted. "Enough, Ino. This is for his welfare as much as it for us. You saw how he acted, and until we know the influence that this mark, he's staying unconscious and tied up," Sakura stated with a stern look. Ino was not happy about what Sakura said and wanted to say something when Shikamaru cut in. "Sakura is right, Ino. Let Naruto do his thing and keep quiet," he said. Angry and frustrated, Ino stormed off. He then turned to Naruto. "So, can you do something about it?" "Look, my knowledge on curse seal jutsu is pretty limited. I only started to learn because the old man made me due to someone setting me up," Naruto said with a growl. "What do you mean?" Sakura asked. "Yeah. The jutsu is called the self-cursing jutsu. Someone left it on my doorstep and I learned it. I thought it was Elder Homura because he's been teaching me a few advanced sealing. When I returned it to him, he was furious. I explained myself and he took me to the old man. He wasn't happy either and gave me a huge lecture. I was even punished. However, because I know the jutsu, I had to start studying curse seals," Naruto explained. "So, you can't remove it?" Shikamaru asked. "Not without knowing what it will do to Sasuke. I do know a sealing jutsu that could work, but..." "But what?" Sakura asked. "This jutsu depends on the person's will. Does anyone here really trust Sasuke right about now?" Naruto asked. Shikamaru and Sakura had to admit that Naruto had a point. "Despite that, Naruto, we need to seal this mark up," Sakura said. Naruto nodded at her. He reached into his pouch and pulled out his brush set. He also pulled out some kunai and got to work. Anko knelt in front of the Hokage, her head down. Hiruzen was considering what she had reported to him. He had a good idea what his student was after. Jiraiya had mentioned that in one of his reports. However, one point of her story baffled him. "You said he froze up suddenly?" Hiruzen asked. "Yes, sir. It was very unlike him. He was about to use my curse mark against me when he froze. It was only for a moment, but if he was only a second slower," Anko said. "That confirms my fears and adds a few more," Hiruzen said with a sigh. Hiruzen figured out what Orochimaru was after and he already put his mark on it. He wasn't too worried about the mark because Naruto would have it covered. It also made Naruto a dangerous asset. "As soon as Team Kakashi arrives, I want them brought to me," Hiruzen ordered. "Sir." Sasuke screamed in pain despite being under Naruto's seal. Ino was being held back by Choji as he screamed. The symbols Naruto were moving toward him and circled the curse mark. It would be seconds later before it was over. Sasuke fell face first onto the ground. Everyone gathered to look at the seal. Sakura looked at Naruto before looking at his bloody fingers. "Are you going to be alright? Will the seal hold?" she asked. "I heal up pretty fast. As for the seal, with the extra 2 seals I put on him, it should be fine. The curse sealing jutsu isn't the most powerful seal because it is dependent on the person. Knowing Sasuke, I took extra precautions. The first ring of seals is a contract seal. It will prevent anyone from activating or control the idiot. The second ring of seals is a suppressor seal. If Sasuke tries to use it, this seal will suppress it. It's best I could do," Naruto explained. "It's better than nothing," Shikamaru said before tossing him a scroll. Naruto caught and saw that it was an earth scroll. Everyone was surprised by this. "You need more than anything. Don't worry, I took it off them," motioning to the sound team. "The sooner you get to the tower, the better. We'll meet up with you soon. That is if someone sticks to the plan." He gave Ino a look only to receive a glare. "Thanks man, I owe you one," Naruto said. "What about the sound team?" Sakura asked. Naruto just grinned before doing some hand seals. He put his hand on the ground and a string of seals made its way to them. The team was consumed in smoke before it cleared to reveal a scroll. Naruto went to get it, ignoring the looks of surprise. He picked it up and put it in his pouch. He walked back to everyone. Sakura just sighed. "Sometimes I hate it when you show off." Naruto just grinned before picking up Sasuke. With a salute, Naruto and Sakura were off. It took Sakura and Naruto until noon to reach the tower. They were careful as they moved, avoiding conflict as they went. With Sasuke still out, they did not wish to fight anyone. They entered the tower and were in a very big room. It was dark with very little light. Whatever light was in the room, it illuminated a large plague on the wall. They both looked at it and read the words carefully. Naruto put Sasuke on the ground before summoning the team's scroll. "Well, since we're in the tower and by the words on that plaque, I think we should open both scrolls," Naruto said. "You think so? It talks about earth and heaven working as one. If I remember, Iruka-sensei used to tell us that the earth is the body and heaven is the mind. You need both to be a complete ninja. Maybe we have to open them at the same time. Naruto explained. Sakura nodded and pulled out the earth scroll. On the count of 3, they opened the scrolls. A lot of smoke came out, making the two toss the scrolls away. There was a big poof and the smoke cleared to reveal a leaf Chunin. Upon seeing the team, the Chunin turned on his radio. Team Kakashi has arrived. I need an escort here now. The Chunin reported. It would be seconds when 4 Anbu arrived. Naruto recognized one of the masks. Hey bird, what's going on? He asked. We know about your time in the forest. The third Hokage would like a full report. The ninja said. He looked at Sasuke and ordered 2 of the Anbu to secure him. He looked at the remaining 2 and motioned them to follow. They walked for a while before coming to an office. The man opened the door to reveal Hiruzen. The 2 entered the room and saw that Kakashi was there as well. The old man faced the 2 and gave them a sad smile. So, I heard that you ran into one of my students. Kabuto had his hands raised and was looking at the person who caught him. Mentally, he cursed his foolishness. How could he not have sensed him? As he looked around for his other teammates, he noticed the look that the Naira was giving him. Did he know something about his true self? That couldn't be possible. He kept his cool as he faced Shikamaru. Okay, it seems that you caught me. I would think that because we are from the same village, we could work together, Kabuto said. It's like that lady said, this is about survival, gathering intel. While you might be a leaf shinobi and have the experience, I don't think that I would trust you with me and my team, Shikamaru said. Oh, you do not trust me? If you recall, I did share information with you and your friends when I did not have to. Kabuto explained. Yeah, and therein lies the problem. While giving that information away could have been you just being friendly, how you got that information worries me. What you have on us, I know you wouldn't get due to the changes I know about. However, how did you get that information on that Gaara person? Shikamaru asked. Well, my source is very reliable, Kabuto said. Your source must be very good. It isn't every day you can get such information, especially on a Jonin that is the child of a Hokage. Usually that information is very well guarded, Shikamaru stated. Kabuto's smile dropped a little and he was starting to get annoyed. Perhaps I have a good source. Perhaps, but I think that there is more to you than you reveal. At first, I ignored the chakra pool that you and your team had when you crossed into my probe barrier. However, it is to control. It was as if you have had years of experience. You're not who you say you are. Kabuto realized that the time for games were over. He vanished, escaping that minor explosion that occurred. He reappeared behind Shikamaru, his hand glowing. It moved quickly to kill Shikamaru but his hand just went through him. Just a clone. Interesting move Shikamaru Nara. He was about to go and hunt for the boy when he remembered that Shikamaru said something about him and his team. Cursing, he quickly made his way to find his 2 teammates. It did not take him long but he was not happy. Yoroi and Misumi were out cold. Their things had been searched, which meant that the scrolls were gone. He knew that if Shikamaru knew that he was a fraud, he would have done everything in his power to make sure that they did not go forward. It was just annoying him further. Very interesting move indeed. Hiruzen stared at the 2 Jonin as they just finished reporting to him. He was not happy. He did not show it to the 2 but the experienced shinobi in the room could tell that he was not happy. His eyes would go to Kakashi who had enough sense not to look at him. While he did not know much about his student's seal, the fact that Sasuke acted like that worried him. He knew that he would have to personal step in now concerning Sasuke. Enough was enough. Naruto, the blonde stood at attention. Will your seals hold? Yeah, I'm confident that it will hold. The 2 added seals are pretty strong. Just ask Tsuruka, Naruto said with a grin. This released some of the tension that was in the room. I'll be sure to ask him about it, Hiruzen said with some amusement. He then got serious. While I am proud of the both of you, I am worried for your safety, especially yours Naruto. Naruto looked surprised at that. Your skill in sealing is incredible. I am not ashamed to say that if you continue on this path you will even surpass me in a few years. However, you have put yourself in Orochimaru's view. He will attempt to find out more about your skill. If he learns just how good you are, he may attempt something against you. Naruto looked really scared at that thought. You may be at ease Naruto. I will not allow him to do anything against you. I will even appoint you a shinobi who will be your sensei from now on. He will be training you for the exams. I trust him completely but it might take some work for you two to get along, Hiruzen said with a smirk. Naruto did not like that smirk but said nothing. Well, you two must be tired from your journey. My Anbu will escort you to the rooms that you will be staying. With that, The Anbu led the two out of the room, leaving Kakashi and Hiruzen alone. The old Kage looked at Kakashi with a serious expression. I am surprised that you did not say anything to defend your student. I know that you do not approve of my favoritism, but I am not so blind to Sasuke's faults, Kakashi stated with authority. And yet, you have found every excuse to defend him. That ends today. I do not care that he is the last Uchiha. I do not care if he is a flight risk. I am going to let that boy know that I will do something about his actions, and should he have a problem with it, he will be introduced to the god of Shinobi, not the kindly grandfather, Hiruzen said with force. He walked out of the office, leaving Kakashi alone to think. Orochimaru stood at the tower and waited for Kabuto to appear. He did not have his usual smirk that would wear. While pleased that he got his mark on Sasuke, there were just too many questions that he needed answers to. It also seemed that these rookies were better trained than he thought. He was very surprised that Kabuto was found out by Jinan. He knew of the Nara clan's vast intelligence, but even he knew that Jinan should not have caught Kabuto as a spy. His attention turned toward the arriving Kabuto. He noticed that one of his teammates was missing. There was also some specks of blood on his hand. He looked at him with some curiosity. Yoroi got a little too mouthy for my taste. The animals will deal with his body soon enough, Kabuto said. That still does not explain how a boy of 13 was able to figure you out, Kabuto. You are much more careful than that, Orochimaru said. I wish that I can tell you. I do not know how he knew. However, he is much different than your typical Nara. He let it slip that he knew barriers. Something he called the probe barrier was able to give him some idea as to how strong I really am, Kabuto said. Orochimaru looked surprised by that. As it should. My old teammate uses that barrier. It could certainly expose you, but it is a B-rank jutsu. The Nara are not known for their high chakra pools. The fact that this boy knows such a jutsu, Orochimaru said softly while thinking. You are concerned? Kabuto concerned. Yes. These children should not be so good. My sensei preaches about peace and has reduced the academy to nothing. However, it seems that he has improved his training. That can become a problem going down the road, especially Naruto Uzumaki, Orochimaru stated. Naruto? Why would you be concerned about him? He is average at best. His only skill of note is his sealing. Kabuto explained. That is exactly the problem. It was something that I ignored because I knew that he showed no interest in the art. However, if he began to learn sealing jutsu, then his skill will grow to threaten my plans. I would think that his heritage would not show, but I made a mistake and ignored it. His heritage? This made Orochimaru smirk a little at him. Kabuto, that boy is more than just the container of the nine-tailed fox. Orochimaru did not go into that further. He got off the wall that he was leaning on and looked at the two. Well, I will keep an eye on Sasuke. Getting him to leave this village might be easier than I thought. However, I want him to ripen first. Kabuto, stay hidden and keep in touch with our partners. For now, do not indulge your curiosity and leave the two boys alone. Very well, I will do as you asked, Kabuto said. What about me? Misumi asked, speaking for the first time. Oh, I almost forgot about you, Orochimaru said. In a flash, the Sannin cut Misumi's throat opened. The man tried to stop the bleeding, but it was already too late. With that business done, the two left the area. It would be the next day when Naruto and Sakura made their way to the cafeteria to get some breakfast. They were still a little tired but were refreshed enough to get something to eat. With the sun up, they realized that it was the third day of the exams. They were wondering if Team Asuma were okay. They soon got their answer when they saw Team Asuma with Team Kurenai. They quickly made their way over to them. Shikamaru, Choji, Ino, am I glad to see you guys. Naruto greeted. We would have been here sooner if someone didn't keep us in the forest, Ino said with irritation. Are you still angry about that? Shikamaru knew what he was doing. What do you think would have happened if that Kabuto guy caught either of you? You heard Shikamaru. That guy was bad news. Show a little appreciation, Kiba stated with a growl. Ino had the decency to look ashamed. Kabuto? What about that guy? What are you guys talking about? Sakura asked. That when all three teams began to talk about their time in the forest. There was a lot of wide eyes and gasps as each team talked about their encounters. When everything was done, everybody fell into a silence. It would soon be broken by Shikamaru. Something is happening in the village, something bad, he said. You're getting that vibe too? There are just way too many things happening in these exams, Naruto said. What are you talking about? Ino asked. It's like Hirukati taught us. We need to look underneath the underneath. What happened to Team Kakashi is terrible B but suspicious. Why would one of Konoha's top missing end ninjas sneak into the exams just for Sasuke? Hinata answered. There is also Kabuto and Gaara. One may very well be a spy and the other might be nuts. How long has Kabuto been a spy and why the hell would the Sand Village send someone who is clearly not right in the head? Choji asked. Orochimaru, Kabuto, this Gaara guy, something is definitely up and I'm worried, Naruto said. The others just nodded in agreement. After a tense silence, Ino looked at Sakura and spoke. Hey, where is Sasuke? I don't see him with you, Ino said. It would be Naruto who answered. He should still be unconscious. The curse sealing jutsu takes a lot out of the person it is applied to. My guess, he's still out and probably under Anbu guard, Naruto said. The group continued to converse, unaware that someone was watching. This person focused his eyes on them, particularly on Naruto. He did not know why but he was very interested in the blonde. Perhaps he would prove his existence like the Uchiha would. He vanished without a trace. Sasuke began to open his eyes. Everything was still blurry so he had to blink a few times. He was groggy from whatever hit him earlier. His sight began to clear but he was still a little out of it. However, he looked to his right and saw an Anbu ninja looked right at him. He looked to his left and saw another Anbu. He started to get nervous when a cough got his attention. He looked forward and saw the Hokage at the foot of the bed. This woke him up very quickly as the stern look he was getting made him nervous. It seems that you have had quite the second stage, Sasuke, Hiruzen stated. Sasuke would remain quiet. My former student was always the sneaky one. He could infiltrate any place once he put his mind to it. I knew that he had ambitions, mostly to do with extending his life and learning all the jutsu in the world. If I had only put a stop to it, many wouldn't need to suffer, like you. For that, I apologize. I don't understand, Sasuke said. The mark that you received, it is something that he worked on and it looks like he perfected it. Hiruzen explained. Sasuke realized what he was talking about and looked to his shoulder. He got a glance at the mark and was relieved to see that it was still there, something that Hiruzen did not miss. Quite a power he gave you, isn't it, Sasuke? However, that power comes at a price and I see it in your eyes that you might be willing to pay that price if it would help in your ambitions. A shame that it has been sealed. What? Sasuke said and looked back at the mark. He saw the other marks around the cursed seal. He turned back to Hiruzen and glared. Remove them. I'm afraid that I will not do that, Hiruzen said calmly. I said to remove them, Sasuke shouted. That's when he felt the cold steel on his neck. The two Anbu were ready to take his head off. Sasuke was stunned at this and looked at Hiruzen. His face got sterner and he directed his chakra at him. It made him sweat and he just realized that this was not the kindly grandfather Hokage he used to see. This was the god of Shinobi and he was not playing around. Good, it seems to me that you realized who I am. Do not think for 1 second that I will not end your life, Sasuke. The blood of the Uchiha and the Sharingan will not save you here. I am the law and I give the commands. If you ever step out of line again, I will not hesitate to cut you down. Do you understand me, boy? Hiruzen asked with a tone. Sasuke could only nod in understanding. As I said, I will not remove the seals. You will just have to deal with my student's little gift. Also know, that I will be watching you, Sasuke. Your actions in the forest has shown me that you cannot be trusted. Know this, Sasuke, I will know what you are doing and if you step out of line or become a danger to the village, I will kill you. With that said, the blades were removed and Hiruzen stopped leaking chakra. He turned and walked out of the room, leaving Sasuke alone. Sasuke's expression of fear slowly turned into anger. He was angry at the fact that the Hokage threatened him and the fact that he denied him the power that he used in the forest. Even with all the anger surging through him, he was able to figure out how the Hokage knew of his actions and who might have sealed the mark. He swore that he was going to get back at them for this hit to his pride. With the second stage coming to a close, Hiruzen stood with his Jonin and looked at the remaining teams. The Sand team might have blown all of the team out by arriving first but he was very impressed with the rookies. They all made through the Forest of Death without dying, which was saying something. With the exception of Team Guy, all the teams that recently graduated made here with 2 or 3 days to spare. It showed that the change in the academy's training was working. Sure, it could also be due to the fact that many of the rookies were from clans but the change was working because of the things that they were able to do during the exams. However, this also worried him. If what the Jonin of Asuma reported was true, then they had a spy working for Orochimaru for years. He shouldn't have just believed that Mizuki was the only spy. He should have dug deeper, which was what Ibiki was doing right now. The news that Kabuto's teammates might have also been spies also bothered him. They found one of them near the tower with his throat slice opened and the other they found half-eaten by the animals. It made him think how many more spies were employed by his student. The team Naruto captured probably did not know anything, but he would have Viki pressure them. Perhaps they knew something about what Orochimaru was planning. He put all of this in the back of his mind and faced the remaining Shin'an. Congratulations on succeeding in this stage of the exams. You 15 are the only ones who passed the test. It seems that Anko here made good on her promise. Now, with the second stage over, we can move on to the final stage of the exams, which will happen 1 month from tomorrow. Hiruzen explained. What's going to happen in a month? Asked Naruto. You will all compete in one-on-one battles in front of the village, potential clients and leaders of other countries. These exams are like showing others just how good your village is. Every ninja village competes to outdo the other. This exam is also like a version of a war. We are always fighting each other, proving who is the strongest. You will all fight and you will all either rise up or fall down. I don't care about that. Just get on with it already, Gaara said. Hiruzen just scoffed at him and turned to Anko. She walked up to the front and looked at each of them, holding a box. Okay brats, all you guys have to do is get a number and call it out. We then write your name on the board and that will be the order of the match. Pretty simple, right? Now because of an annoying little, blonde rat who will pay for countless humiliations can't get near me, I will pick his number for him, Anko said, glaring murder at Naruto who just smirked at her. She reached in and pulled out a number. Naruto Uzumaki's number is 5. The man nodded and wrote his name down. That's when everyone stepped up and picked a number. 1. Kiba called out. 7. Hinata said. 12. Shino said. 11. Shikamaru said. 10. Choji said. 4. Ino said. 8. Sakura called out. 6. Sasuke said. As he walked back, he gave Naruto a dirty look. Naruto ignored it and listened in for the other numbers. 2. Neji said 14, Lee exclaimed. 9. Tenten said. 13. Gaara said. 3. Temari said 15, Kankura said. With the final number on the board, Anko looked at the full roster. Okay, the first match will be Kiba Inuzuka vs Neji Hyuga. The second match will be Temari vs Ino Yamanaka. The third match will be Naruto Uzumaki vs Sasuke Uchiha. The fourth match will be Hinata Hyuga vs Sakura Haruno. The fifth match will be Tenten vs Choji Akimichi. The sixth match will be Shikamaru Nara vs Shino Aburame. The last match will be Rock Lee vs Gaara of the Sand Waterfall. Kankuro gets a bye but will face the winner of the Lee/Gaara match. Alright, you have a month from tomorrow to get stronger and show everyone just how strong you are. We're done here, she said. With that everyone began to file out of the tower. Naruto and Sakura watched as Kakashi grabbed Sasuke and vanished with him. Neither really were surprised by the move. The blonde looked at his pink-haired teammate. Are you going to find Haku? Naruto asked. Yes, I just hope he has time for me, Sakura said. With that, everyone just followed the adults out of the tower. The two males appeared at the training ground. Sasuke angrily pulled his arm away from Kakashi and got some space. He looked at the Jonin with an angry expression. What the hell do you want? If you brought me here to give me another lecture, then you have wasted your time, Sasuke spat. Now Sasuke, you brought this on yourself. Threatening your teammates and comrades, what were you thinking? Kakashi asked. Those two aren't my teammates and the others are not my comrades. They were in my way and tried to stop me from testing that new power, Sasuke stated loudly. A power that Orochimaru is using to control you. The curse seal gives power but it makes you dependent on him. He is using you and you don't see that. Kakashi explained. Sasuke calmed down a little after that. While he liked the power the curse seal gave him, he did not want to be under someone's thumb or to be used. He gave Kakashi a look that still held some anger. So what do you want? Why did you drag me out here? Sasuke demanded. We are here to discuss our training for the month. We are going to start early but I want to plan everything out first, Kakashi said. Oh, and what is this training going to be like? It is going to be the same training that the Anbu get, Kakashi said, getting Sasuke's attention. There is a facility outside the village that isn't used as much anymore. It was where I got my training for the Anbu. It is also where Itachi trained. My goal is to get you up to my level by the end of the month. Do well and I might just show you a jutsu that will not only win you a promotion but it will be the jutsu that ends the life of Itachi. Sasuke was intrigued by the offer. The Anbu were the elite of the village. Also, it would be in the same facility that his brother trained in. That was all he needed to hear. Kakashi saw his interest and was glad that he got Sasuke to agree. With the month he had, he was hoping to get through to the boy. He was hoping to show him another path rather than revenge. He wanted Sasuke to form bonds and it would start with him. However, there was this voice in the back of his mind that told him that this would not be a good idea. That his plans would fall apart. He quickly banished those thoughts and began to plan the training. Unknown to either one of them, two men heard everything that Kakashi said. One was the third Hokage. The other was a tall man with waist-length, spiky white hair that was tied back into a ponytail. There were red lines under his eyes which extended down his face, going all the way to the bottom. He wore a green short shirt kimono and matching pants, under which he wore mesh armor that was visible at his wrists and ankles. He was also wearing hand guards, a black belt, traditional Japanese wooden sandals, and a red haori with 2 yellow circles on each side. He carried a large scroll on his back, had a tattoo on his left palm, and he wore a horn forehead protector with the kanji for oil. The look on the two men's face were not happy looks. When I got your message, I was going to ignore it at first. However, I took it seriously and rushed over here. Now I see that I did the right thing. Boy, Kakashi has really screwed up, he said. That is why I need you to get Naruto ready. With Orochimaru's interest in him and the unpredictability of Sasuke, Naruto will need all the help he can get. Do not treat him as if you would treat Minato. Minato was a talent like no other, but he takes after his mother when it comes to training. Also, it might give a chance to bond, something I know you want. Jiraiya, Hiruzen said. Jiraiya stood up straight and looked at his sensei. He then picked up Naruto's file that was on Hiruzen's desk. Reading it, he couldn't help but smile. Don't worry sensei, that Uchiha kid will not know what hit him. I'm going to make Naruto into a ninja that they will be proud of, Jiraiya said. He then looked at the picture of the fourth Hokage. I will do right by him, Minato. This I swear. Kiba entered his home after being let out of the Forest of Death. He was tired and wanted some shut-eye before he got into his training. From the small meeting that he had with Kurenai and the others, Kurenai was going to offer her services should they need it. She was somewhat at a loss on who to really focus on due to their opponents. They all let her know that they would ask for help should they need it. As he made his way to his room, he heard the voice of his mother and sister. Making his way to the common room, he saw the two sitting there talking. Hi guys, what were you talking about? Kiba asked. Nothing important. Your sister is just a little cranky because security is being tightened a little. It isn't like she has a social life to complain about, Tsume said, a little smirk appearing on her face due to Hana's glare. Well, they do have a good reason for that. Some major stuff happened during the second part of the exams. Those exams are no joke, Kiba said. Really? Well, I will find out later as the Hokage has called everyone in. In fact, I should get going, Tsume said and stood up. She congratulated Kiba on passing and walked out of the home. Hana turned her attention to her brother. So, Squirt, what are your plans for training? Who are you facing in the finals? She asked. Hinata's cousin, Neji. She told me about him and how he was last year's Rookie of the Year and a first-rate prick. I don't know much about how he fights but I bet I can take him. Kiba boasted. Really? You think you can take a Hyuga on? If I remember clearly, you're on a team with a Hyuga and she has beaten you how many times? Hana asked with smirk. Kiba gave her a dirty look before making his way to his room. Maybe he should plan this out some more. Choza looked for his son when he returned from the council meeting. He wanted to make sure that he was okay after hearing about how his son's team uncovered the spy. He had the security increased just in case the spy decided to get him. He found his son practicing his bow forms and let out a sigh of relief. He walked up to his son and got his attention. You're improving in your stance and wielding, Choza said with a smile. His face then changed, becoming serious. I was informed about your time in the forest. I am glad that you were safe and I am proud that you helped in revealing a break in our security. Thanks Dad, although, it was Shikamaru who guessed that stuff. I just helped when I could, Choji said with a little embarrassment. Do not sell yourself short son. It was the same way for my team as well. Shikaku was always the brains and I was always the muscle. You did your part in keeping your team safe. Now, what do you plan on doing for the finals? I believe that you are fighting Might Guy's Kunoichi. Choza said. Yeah, but I have no information on her. Still, I do have a plan but I don't know if I can do it within the month without help, Choji said. Well, we better get busy huh? Choza asked, smiling at his son. Choji smiled back and hugged his father. Shikamaru was looking at the night sky from inside his home. He was confined there even if his father said he wasn't. If he knew that calling out a spy was going to get him grounded, he would have left it alone. If that wasn't bad enough, he was actually thinking about the upcoming match with Shino. Shikamaru was not one to think about competition. He didn't care for it, and he wasn't a fight not like Naruto or Kiba. Still, he felt kind of excited about his match with Shino. In a way, he and Shino were kind of alike. They were loners, they didn't like too much interaction, they liked Go, and they were pretty intelligent. To go up against Shino would most likely turn into one of their Go matches, and he was, surprisingly, looking forward to that. "I can't believe it," Shikamaru muttered in aggravation. "They managed to turn me into one of them." He growled lowly and turned his head into his pillow. He had to get some rest before he got up to train. The next morning found Naruto waiting for his teacher for the month. The old man wasn't too specific on who would be his sensei. He only smiled and said that he would know him when he saw him. Naruto turned his attention when he heard someone enter the training ground. Seeing the tall man with white hair, he also noticed that looked kind of burnt. "Are you Jiraiya? What happened to you?" Naruto asked. The man glared at Naruto. "This would because of your little security measure at the hot springs, brat," Jiraiya spat. He didn't know how, but he could not break the Junon security system that he placed around there. He had gone after a small talk with Hiruzen to conduct his research. However, when he got within the hot springs, there was a flash of light, and then he found himself being hit with surges of electricity. While a normal man would have taken the hint, Jiraiya was a pervert who needed research for his readers. He pushed forward to peek only to be knocked out halfway there. Naruto looked confused until he put it together. The security that he was talking about was the one he made for the women of the village. They were getting sick of the perverts peeking on them, so they came to him. He created a beauty of the array that would shock anyone not female. The female population was very happy to have their privacy while the perverts cursed Naruto's name. He gave Jiraiya a dirty look. "Oh great, the old man saddled me up with a pervert," Naruto muttered. "Hey! I am not a pervert," Jiraiya bellowed. He then got a big grin on his face. "I am the great Toad Sage and sexy ladies man, the gallant Jiraiya. And, I am a super pervert." Naruto looked at him with disbelief. He then sighed and groaned. "The old man hates me," Naruto stated. Jiraiya just chuckled at him. "Trust me kid, I'm as bit as strong as advertised. The old man wouldn't just saddle you up with just anyone. Besides, being the former teammate of Orochimaru, I think I can keep you safe and make you strong. Unlike that old man Homura, I'm of greater skill when it comes to sealing." From what the old man said, "You might be prodigy," he said. Naruto didn't really want to train with the old pervert, but being the former teammate of Orochimaru did make it interesting. Also, he could learn a bit more sealing from him. "Alright then," Naruto said with a sigh. "What are you going to teach me, pervy sage?" Jiraiya frowned at the nickname. The smug smirk on Naruto's face did not help either. He then grinned at the blonde. "Well, first, I need to get a good look at your skill. Lucky for you, I ran into someone who was more than glad to help me with that." "You'll be sparring with her," Jiraiya said. "Her?" Naruto asked confused. "Revenge." Naruto turned to the shout only to be tackled by Anko, who was no longer under his seal. Jiraiya just pulled out a notepad and sat on a nearby rock. He ignored Naruto's screams and calls for help while he tussled with Anko, who was raining punches down on him. He just kept taking notes, as this would be really good for his book. Kakashi looked on as Sasuke ran through the obstacle course. It would be the 6th time today. The boy was determined to beat Itachi's time through that course. While the drive was impressive, he felt that this obsession would consume the time that they had to train. Besides, in the years since his defection, no Anbu has been able to beat Itachi's time. Speaking of the Anbu, Kakashi knew that they were outside the compound. He knew that they were not there to protect Sasuke in the slightest. They were there to keep an eye on Sasuke due to his actions. He did not agree with Sasuke's actions toward his teammates or the Hokage. He wanted to put all this on the curse mark Orochimaru put on him, but he knew that was just another excuse he was making. Sasuke was a flight risk, and he would jump at the chance to get the power he needed. It was why he was trying to form a bond with Sasuke. He wanted Sasuke to see that he needed people to help him in his quest. He thought that Naruto and Sakura would form the bonds he thought about, but they disappointed him in that aspect. Now it was up to him to form that bond with Sasuke or lose him forever to the darkness that plagued his heart. Sasuke finished the course and he stopped the watch. He knew Sasuke was looking at him, and all he could do is shake his head in the negative. This upset Sasuke, and he was about to make his way back to the beginning, but Kakashi stopped him. "You can do that later, Sasuke. We need to get to some training if you are going to compete with Naruto," he said. Sasuke nodded and made his way over to start their training. Hiruzen, Homaru and Koharu looked at Ibiki and several other shinobi. Their faces grim and stern. "So, do we believe that this is the work of Kabuto?" Hiruzen asked. "Yes, this is his work." While it was difficult, the coroner was able to find cuts within the body. From what we were able to find out, he was the adopted son of Nono Yakashi. She was skilled in her own right and could have passed her skills on. The name did ring some bells, but as they remembered, she was reported missing years ago. They decided to focus on the deaths. "Do you have the names of the deceased?" Hiruzen asked. Ibiki took out a piece of paper and looked at it. A special jonin named Seibaru, a female named Ame and a receptionist named Mio. Ibiki read. 3 spies right under our nose. Seibaru was someone who knew our entire security system. He might also be linked to Kisuke's and his wife's death. He was in charge of our security system, Koharu said with some anger. Hiruzen was not happy about this and it showed. He looked at Ibiki with a hard glance. "I want that team broken, Ibiki. Take off the gloves." Ibiki nodded and left his office. Jiraiya opened the door to Naruto's apartment. He made his way over to the couch where he dumped Naruto on. The blonde let out a groan before fixing Jiraiya with a glare. "I would flip you off if I had the energy." Naruto grumbled. "Well, I must say that I was impressed. You managed to last longer against Anko than I thought. Was that the god style I saw you using?" "It's the style of the first Hokage, isn't it?" Jiraiya asked. "Yeah, Ibiki showed it to me through a manual. It works for me because the Inuzuka fighting style didn't suit me." Naruto explained. "That's pretty smart, for a brat. Though I'm surprised that you didn't." Jiraiya was cut off when he heard a scream that could shatter windows. He turned back to Naruto, who was smiling at him. "Do I even want to know? Let's just say that she's going to be home for the next week or so. She wouldn't want to go out in public looking like a pumpkin," he explained. Jiraiya could help but laugh at what Naruto did. "Kid, we are going to have so much fun this month." Dosu was forced into the seat. Ibiki got in front of him and gave him a hard look. "The games are over, kid. Your time is up. If you don't tell what I want to know, I'm going to send you to where I sent your teammates. If you won't give me the information willingly, I will take it from you by force." Ibiki growled. Dosu looked at him with his lone eye. "What do you want to know?" he asked seriously. Ibiki nodded in appreciation. Out of the 3, Dosu he could see wanted to pay Orochimaru back. He saw that he refused to be used like a pawn. He wanted to make him pay for using him. Good choice. "Now, what do you know? What was the mission?" Ibiki asked. "Our mission was to kill Sasuke, but you know that is not true." Dosu answered. "Did you know about Kabuto?" "Kabuto? You mean the Jonin with the glasses? I didn't know he was working for Orochimaru. Our contact was some woman who was working in the Hokage Tower. I didn't get a name nor did I care. She gave us all the information about Sasuke and his team or what she could." Dosu explained. "Do you know anything else? I know that Orochimaru is planning something big. You should also be concerned about the ninja from the sand. We were told to assist them for some reason." "The sand? What do they?" Ibiki was cut off by an explosion that rocked the room. He threw open the door and looked at the leaf ninja at the door. "What the hell is going on?" "There was an explosion on the west side of the building. Men have been sent there now," he answered. Ibiki narrowed his eyes at that. He turned toward the men in the room. "Keep him under guard," Ibiki ordered. He exited the room and looked at another guard. "Get some men and come with me. We need to get those other 2 under protection now." That's it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and follow me on my other social media accounts. Anime God here, and I'm signing off.